When you think of powerful trucks, you probably imagine roaring diesel engines. Thick black smoke and massive horsepower numbers splashed across the screen. But what if I told you that long before diesel ruled the roads, there were real monsters, hauling impossible loads using nothing but fire, water, and steam. Trucks that hissed, clanked, and breathed like living machines. Trucks that looked more like locomotives than road vehicles. And the wild part is this. These steam trucks were not experiments, they worked every day. They hauled coal, timber, stone, and steel. Some of them were so powerful that even modern trucks would struggle to match their raw pulling force. Today, you're about to discover the most powerful steam trucks you won't believe actually existed. And trust me, by the time we reach the last one, you'll look at modern hauling machines very differently. Let's go back to a time when roads were muddy, uneven, and barely more than dirt paths. Horses were still the main source of transport, but industry was growing fast. Factories needed coal. Cities needed building materials. Railways couldn't reach everywhere. And that's where steam trucks stepped in. One of the earliest machines to prove this idea could work was the Foden 5-ton steam wagon. Built in 1908 in Britain, this truck arrived at the perfect moment. Industries were desperate for a replacement for horse-drawn carts, and the Foden delivered brute strength like nothing before it. This machine could haul up to 5 tons of cargo, which at the time was almost unbelievable. Imagine seeing this thing coming down a narrow street, smoke pouring from the stack, chains rattling, wheels grinding through mud. People didn't just notice it. They stopped and stared. The Foden used a coal-fired boiler and a twin-cylinder steam engine that produced around 50 to 60 horsepower. That might not sound impressive today, but steam engines deliver power instantly. No waiting, no revving, just pure pulling force the moment you open the throttle. That made it perfect for hills, rough roads, and heavy loads. Drivers didn't sit in comfortable cabs. They stood exposed to the weather, wearing goggles and heavy coats, constantly managing water levels, pressure, and cold. This wasn't just driving, it was operating a moving factory. These wagons quickly replaced horses in cities across England. Coal yards, breweries, construction sites all depended on them. And here's the crazy part. Some restored Fodens still run today, over 100 years later, proving just how solid they were built. But as impressive as that sounds, the next truck took steam power and made it even smarter. The Yorkshire steam wagon arrived in the early 1910s, and it brought something unusual to the table. While most steam wagons used tall vertical boilers, Yorkshire engineers flipped the idea sideways. They used a horizontal boiler design. That single decision changed everything. By lowering the center of gravity, the truck became more stable on corners and hills. In a time when tipping over was a real danger, this was a game changer. The Yorkshire wagon could haul around 6 tons and cruise at speeds close to 18 miles per hour. Slow by today's standards, but back then, this was serious performance. The engine produced around 60 horsepower, again with that unstoppable steam torque. It didn't matter how heavy the load was. The truck just kept pulling. It squared off. Shape and wide stance made it look muscular and confident. When it moved, it didn't scream like an engine, it thumped. Deep, steady, and unstoppable. These trucks worked in brickyards, factories, and industrial towns across northern England. They became known for reliability and balance. And in one famous vintage event decades later, a restored Yorkshire steam wagon actually beat modern trucks in a hill climb challenge. Not because it was fast, but because it never lost traction. Steam just kept pushing. But while Yorkshire focused on balance, another company focused on refinement dulled by the 1920s. Sentinel Wagon Works had become one of the most respected names in steam transport. Their Sentinel S4 steam wagon represented a leap forward in design. Everything felt more polished, more dependable, more professional. This truck used a twin-cylinder, horizontal steam engine producing roughly 75 horsepower. With that power, it could haul over 6 tons and reach speeds close to 22 miles per hour. That made it one of the fastest steam wagons of its time. For businesses hauling goods between towns, this mattered a lot. The Sentinel S4 looked cleaner than earlier wagons. The metalwork was refined. The layout was smarter. The semi-open cab offered some protection while keeping everything accessible. These trucks worked long days hauling agricultural goods, coal, and industrial supplies. They earned a reputation as machines you could trust, and many of them survived well into the diesel era, still working simply because there was no reason to replace them. Today, restored S4 wagons still appear at steam rallies, running under their own power, sometimes hauling real loads just like they did a century ago. But Sentinel wasn't done yet. Because when industries demanded more power, Sentinel answered. With something even stronger, the Sentinel DG4 arrived in the 1930s, and this machine meant business. The name DG stood for double gear, a new transmission system that gave drivers better control over heavy loads. This was a serious upgrade. The DG4 produced around 90 horsepower and could haul up to 7 tons with ease. More importantly, it could handle rough construction sites, uneven roads, and steep climbs without complaint. Steam power meant constant torque, and the double gearing meant drivers could choose exactly how that power was delivered. Visually, the DG4 looked like a steam-powered tank, boxy, heavy, and unapologetic. The tall smokestack, thick clouds of steam, and deep engine rhythm made it impossible to ignore. It required a two-man crew, a driver and a fireman. One steered, the other kept the boiler alive. These trucks hauled brick, steel, timber, and construction materials across Britain. Some stayed in service for over 40 years, long after diesel trucks became common. That alone tells you everything you need to know about how tough they were. Collectors today consider the DG4 one of the finest steam wagons ever built. And yet, Sentinel still wasn't finished pushing the limits. If you think 90 horsepower sounds impressive, the next machine takes steam power right to its peak. But before we get there, take a second and imagine this. No computers, no electronics, no hydraulic assists. Just steel, fire, water, and human skill. These machines didn't just move cargo. They demanded respect. And the next steam truck didn't just haul loads. It redefined what a road-going steam vehicle could be capable of. If you're enjoying this journey into forgotten mechanical giants, make sure you stay with me. Because the next part introduces steam trucks that pushed past normal roads and into territory that even modern trucks struggle with. And yes, it only gets more unbelievable from here. Asterisk, asterisk, by the mid-1930s. Steam truck builders knew they were fighting against time. Diesel engines were getting cheaper, easier to use, and more popular every year. But instead of giving up, some engineers decided to push steam power as far as it could possibly go. That mindset gave birth to machines that were bigger, stronger, and more extreme than anything that came before. One of the best examples of that final golden age was the Sentinel S6. This truck wasn't designed just to compete. It was designed to dominate. When you saw a Sentinel S6 on the road, you immediately knew it was something special. It looked more modern than earlier steam wagons, with smoother lines and a wider stance. But don't let that cleaner appearance fool you. Underneath, it was an absolute brute. The S6 produced around 100 horsepower from its twin-cylinder horizontal steam engine. For a steam wagon, that was huge. And because steam delivers torque constantly, this truck could pull heavy loads from a standstill without hesitation. Hills, mud, loose gravel, none of it mattered. The S6 just kept moving. It could haul around 6 tons comfortably and reach speeds close to 25 miles per hour. That might not sound fast today, but in the steam era, it was flying. Drivers appreciated the improved double-gear transmission, which allowed better control when climbing hills or starting under full load. The chain-driven rear wheels and reinforced leaf springs gave it stability even on rough industrial roads. This was a truck built for long workdays, no shortcuts, no weak points. Industries used it to haul steel beams, concrete blocks, coal, and heavy agricultural loads. It became especially popular around large construction projects where reliability mattered more than speed. There's a famous story about a restored Sentinel S6 taking part in a long-distance endurance run alongside early diesel trucks. while others struggled with breakdowns and overheating. The S6 completed the route with just one stop for water and coal. That moment perfectly captured what steam trucks were all about. Simple systems, predictable power, and endurance that refused to quit. But as strong as the S6 was, Sentinel engineers had an even more extreme idea in mind. If you've ever wondered what a steam-powered off-road monster would look like, meet the Sentinel DG4. This machine is often described as the ultimate steam truck ever built. And once you understand why, you'll see it deserves that title. The DG4 wasn't just powerful, it was revolutionary. This truck featured full 8-wheel drive. Yes, 8 wheels, all driven mechanically. In the 1930s, that alone sounds unbelievable. The DG4 produced around 120 horsepower from its massive steam engine. But horsepower numbers don't tell the full story here. What mattered was traction. With 8 driven wheels, this truck could crawl through mud, snow, loose dirt, and uneven ground where normal trucks would sink instantly. It could haul more than 10 tons without losing grip. Speed wasn't important. Pulling power was. Top speed sat around 22 miles per hour, but the DG4 was never meant to race. It was meant to go where nothing else could. Visually, the DG4 looked like a steam-powered Titan. 4 axles, a towering smokestack, thick clouds of steam pouring out as it worked. The cab was large enough for tools, coal, and the 2-man crew needed to keep it running. These trucks worked in mines, logging operations, construction sites, and railway projects. Anywhere terrain defeated regular vehicles, the DG4 stepped in. One legendary unit reportedly worked winters in mountainous regions, hauling loads through snow and ice without stopping. Steam engines don't care about cold the same way diesel engines do. As long as there's fire in the boiler, they keep working. Only a handful of DG4s were ever built, which makes them extremely rare today. Preserved examples draw massive crowds at steam festivals. When one starts moving, people don't just watch, they feel it. The ground vibrates, the air fills with steam. It's like watching industrial history come alive. And yet, even the DG4 wasn't the final word in steam truck power as diesel engines continued taking over. Sentinel made one last attempt to prove steam still had a place on the road. That attempt was called the Super Sentinel. And this machine lived up to its name. The Super Sentinel was one of the strongest steam trucks ever produced. It was built to haul long trailers, heavy agricultural loads, and industrial cargo over long distances. Power output reached around 130 horsepower, putting it at the very top of steam truck performance. The Super Sentinel pulled like a locomotive. Low-end torque was immense. Starting heavy loads on inclines was almost effortless, while top speed stayed around 18 to 20 miles per hour. No one bought this truck for speed. They bought it because it simply didn't fail. The heavy-duty manual gearbox, massive rear wheels, and thick leaf springs were designed to survive constant punishment. When running, the truck filled the road with sound. Deep engine beats, constant steam release. A presence you couldn't ignore. These trucks became common in agriculture and heavy industry. They hauled grain wagons, beer barrels, stone loads, and timber. One famous Super Sentinel worked deliveries for a rural brewery in England. Even as diesel trucks became available, the brewery refused to replace it. Their reason was simple: it was never late. That kind of reliability builds trust. And once you trust a machine, it becomes more than equipment. It becomes part of the operation. By this point, steam trucks had reached their absolute peak. They were powerful, refined, and incredibly capable. But there was one machine that didn't care about roads at all. One machine that didn't just haul cargo. It reshaped an entire industry. And unlike the others, it didn't use wheels in the traditional sense. This final giant didn't follow paths. It made them. Before we reach that machine, take a moment to appreciate what you've already seen. Steam trucks weren't primitive. They were advanced for their time. They solved problems that modern engineers still study today. And the last machine on this journey might be the most important of them all. Because without it, tracked vehicles, tanks, and modern construction equipment might not exist at all. Stay with me. Because in the final part you're about to meet a steam-powered legend that changed transportation forever. Asterisk. Now we arrive at the machine that pushed steam power beyond roads, beyond limits, and straight into history. This is the point where steam trucks stopped being just vehicles and started becoming something else entirely. Something bigger, something more influential. If everything you've heard so far sounds impressive, get ready. Because the next machine didn't just haul heavy loads. It changed the way humans moved massive weight across impossible terrain. At the start of the 20th century, the logging industry faced a brutal problem. Forests were dense, winters were harsh, roads were almost non-existent. Horses could only pull so much, and railways couldn't reach deep into the woods. Loggers needed a machine that could move huge amounts of timber through snow, mud, and ice without relying on roads at all. That's when Elvin Orlando Lombard stepped in with an idea so radical that it sounded impossible. Instead of wheels, he used tracks. The Lombard steam log hauler first appeared in 1901 in Maine, and it instantly became a legend. This machine is widely recognized as the first successful tracked vehicle ever built. Long before tanks, bulldozers, or modern excavators, Lombard had already solved the problem of traction on soft ground. The log hauler used a twin-cylinder steam engine producing between 100 and 140 horsepower. That power was used to pull sled trains loaded with timber weighing over 50 tons. Yes, 50 tons, through forests. In winter, instead of front wheels, the Lombard used two massive wooden skis for steering. At the rear, giant steel tracks propelled the machine forward. The operator controlled the skis, while a fireman managed the boiler. Together they guided this mechanical beast through deep snow and rough terrain. When the machine moved, it sounded like a locomotive echoing through the forest. Steam hissed, metal clanked, the ground shook beneath it. It wasn't fast, but it didn't need to be. It was unstoppable. Before the Lombard, logging relied heavily on rivers to move timber. Crews had to wait for spring melts to float logs downstream. With the Lombard log hauler, timber could be moved directly from the cutting site to loading areas, saving enormous amounts of time and labor. Productivity exploded. Entire logging operations were reshaped overnight. This machine didn't just improve efficiency, it transformed an industry. What makes the Lombard even more impressive is its reliability. Steam engines thrive in cold weather. As long as the boiler stayed hot, freezing temperatures didn't matter, while modern engines struggle to start in extreme cold. The Lombard just kept working. Some units stayed in service for decades. A few even survived into the mid-20th century. Today, preserved Lombard log haulers sit in museums across the United States and Canada. And unbelievably, some still run. There's a story of a restored Lombard being fired up by a collector many years after it was built. As the boiler reached pressure and the machine released its first breath of steam, the forest around it went quiet. People didn't cheer, they listened. It felt like watching history wake up. And when the tracks began to move, everyone understood. They were witnessing the ancestor of every tracked vehicle that followed. But the Lombard wasn't the only steam machine to leave a permanent mark. Across the world, steam trucks and haulers inspired engineers to think differently about power, traction, and durability. Many early military vehicles borrowed ideas directly from steam wagons and log haulers. The concept of constant torque, the importance of weight distribution, the value of simplicity. All of it came from these early giants. As diesel engines took over, steam trucks slowly faded from daily use. They were heavier. They required more attention. They needed skilled operators. But what they lacked in convenience, they made up for in character and strength. Steam trucks didn't hide their work. You saw the smoke. You heard the hiss. You felt the vibration. Every mile felt earned. And that connection between human and machine is something modern vehicles rarely offer. Collectors and enthusiasts keep these machines alive today. not as static displays, but as working artifacts. At steam rallies and heritage events, you can still see these trucks hauling real loads, climbing hills and moving crowds simply by existing. Kids stare, adults smile, engineers nod in respect. Because no matter how advanced modern technology becomes, there's something deeply impressive about a machine that runs on fire and water and refuses to quit. When you step back and look at the full picture, you realize something important. Steam trucks weren't a dead end. They were a foundation. They proved that heavy loads could be moved without animals. They showed that machines could replace muscle. They pushed engineering forward at a time when rules were still being written. And without them, the modern world of logistics, construction, and transportation might look very different. In the final part, we're going to bring everything together. You'll see why these steam giants still matter today, why engineers still study them, and why some of these machines even now could outperform modern trucks in the right conditions. You'll also get a surprising insight that might change how you think about progress itself. So stay with me just a little longer. Because the end of this story isn't about the past. It's about what these machines still teach us today.